Hello everyone. Today we're going to review the film Yesterday. So this is about a failing musician who finally gets, I guess, kind of like the gig of a lifetime at this musical event, but still nobody shows up for it, so he decides that he's going to basically give up his musical career and move on, I guess, in life because he's getting to the age now where he thinks he's not going to make it any further. Um, But a miracle happens, in a way for him, I guess, um, where all of uh, there's this big power outage, worldwide power outage. Um, One night, I guess it was the night after this show that he goes on to, um, or this, event that he performed at. So when he's traveling home on his bike, um, after his best friend Elle drops him off, or Ellie, I think he just calls her Elle most of the movie. Um, so his name is Jack Malik, and he was played by Hamish Patel, and Ellie Appleton was played by Lily James. Trying to think of who the other Joel Fry played Rocky, who became his roadie, I guess, for most of the movie. His dad was played by Shanjev Baksar, played Jed Malik, and who was his mother? Oh, come on. Where's his mom? Jeez, this cast list is so very, very odd. Really? They're not gonna... How did his mom not get cast? Oh, come on. Oh, there she is. Mira Sayal played Sheila Malik. So, one night the power goes out worldwide, and the next day he thinks he's being pranked because none of his friends remember who the Beatles are. Which is, I guess, one of probably his bigger inspirations, I would say, for the music that he wrote, like for him, like his own songs that he wrote before all of this power outage happened. So now he has this huge task of actually going back in like his own memory and trying to remember all the words to every single Beatles song. So a huge task for one man to take on. Um, so he actually looks up the Beatles and nothing comes up on the computer. So now he knows for real that his friends weren't pranking him, that the Beatles have just been wiped from existence. And it's actually crazy to think of how many things, um, like in this movie, it shows a lot of stuff that wouldn't have come to be if the Beatles weren't in music. So it actually had a huge world impact. Like Coca-Cola didn't exist. Who else was gone? There were a couple other bands that were just gone from existence as well because the Beatles weren't there, so there was no inspiration for, I guess, those guys as well. Um, there was something else that was really funny that was gone too. Oh, Harry Potter never happened. So, yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff that just disappeared from the face of the earth just because the Beatles never ever got to perform. Or become a band at all, actually, which is it's kind of crazy to think about. One thing happening turns a series of events, or changes a whole series of events from actually even happening at all. Which is, yeah, it's just a crazy concept to think about, right? That one thing happening could change so much. So, as time goes along, he starts to remember all the Beatles songs as he goes. Sometimes it's just a crazy coincidence, like when he's at the dentist. Um, the dentist said, "Spend a little time with my friends," and he goes, "Oh my God, right." So he goes back home and writes that song, and I think he plays all over. Where was he living? Somewhere in England. Can't remember the exact name of the town, but he was living somewhere in England. Um, I guess he lived close to Ed Sheeran because eventually Ed Sheeran hears his music. Um, and the first person who hears his music actually that enjoys it, it seems, is What was his name? Good God. This cast list is really weirdly... Where is he? Oh yes, Gavin, played by Alexander Arnold. He hears this music, so he decides to, help him get on his feet and get it heard to the world. And that's when Ed Sheeran finally hears his music, so Ed Sheeran wants to take him out to LA. And then Ed Sheeran's agent hears his music in Russia, so she wants to take him on now. And his Ed Sheeran's agent was Deborah Hammer, played by Kate McKinnon, and usually she's known for her comedy. I mean, she still had her funny moments in this movie, don't get me wrong. There was some very lighthearted humor in this movie, but she actually did do well in a more serious role, so it's nice to see her kind of, I guess, for me anyway, switch it up a little bit. So as he goes along and he's finding inspiration in different places, he goes to Liverpool at one point for the Eleanor Rigby song, visits her grave, and a whole bunch of other places that he visited. I can't name them all because there's a lot of places that he does visit to find inspiration for songs in Liverpool. What was the name of the bar that he went to? Crap. I had it in my head, and now I've lost it. Anyhow, many different places that he goes for inspiration for a couple different songs. I think Strawberry Fields was one of them when he was going to Liverpool. Yep, that was definitely one of them. And what else was there? There was one other one that actually, when he sees, I believe Elle comes to Liverpool as well, and then Hello Goodbye, I think, was the one that he found inspiration for when they were walking down the streets just singing songs randomly in the tunnel. I think that was the title of the song. Don't quote me on that one, because I could be wrong. But, so obviously now he has this huge record deal, he's going on all these shows, he has this whole, huge team behind him now that's trying to help him with his image, and you can tell he really doesn't want all of that. He just wants to kind of get the actual Beatles music back out there, and he doesn't care about all the fame, really, or the money. And it really shows at the end of the film, actually, when he goes to perform with Ed Sheeran and just does a couple songs, and then he wants to speak at the end. So he says, he finally lets it all out that obviously it wasn't his music, it was performed by John, Paul, Ringo, and why can't I think of the other guy's name? George, right. John, Paul, Ringo, and George were the actual masterminds behind the music. And he does actually go to meet John Lennon at the end of the movie. And obviously John Lennon has no recollection of him even being a Beatle, right? It's just, that's totally been wiped off the face of the earth. So he talks about going around the world, it's like sailing the world and a whole bunch of other stuff, which was kind of funny. And he would have been 78 when this film came out, or at least when it was being shot, he would have been 78. Now, it doesn't even show him as credited or anything in this movie, the actor who played him. I think I have an idea of who it was, I just can't remember the guy's name. So, what else was I going to say? There were two other people along the way that when he's going to find inspiration for songs, the first one was in Russia. This guy named Leo, played by Justin Edwards, hears him performing the Beatles songs, kind of has this, you can tell that he knows the songs as well. And then when he goes to find inspiration in Liverpool, there's this woman that sees him in the streets, Liz, played by Sarah Landshire, and they actually meet him at the very end, and they both give him thanks, because the two of them can't sing like he can, or play like he can, so they're just very happy that the Beatles songs are still living on in this, I guess, it's almost like an alternate reality, and this alternate reality kind of concept thing. So yeah, they're just happy that the songs are able to live on. And at the very end of the movie, when he does his speech and tells Elle that he loves her, obviously they get together at the end of the movie, and it looks like they have 2 kids together, actually. He puts all the songs out there for free, and clearly that did not go over well with the fans, but I guess when they put it out for free, they still forgave him. And it looks like he's still performing the songs anyway, but Deborah was definitely not happy because she wanted all the money. That's all she cared about, was making money off of him, and now that she can't do that, she's going to lose a lot because he was, I think, outdoing Ed Sheeran as far as that goes. So it was kind of funny just to see that her whole world basically crumble. She wasn't a very nice person anyway, so I don't know if I would necessarily want her as a manager. And he would probably do better now with his own music, and being independent seems to be the way to go in the music industry these days, because then you can kind of have the freedom to be your own self and be creative, right? So I do have to give this movie a 10 out of 10. It was just an excellent film. Lots of funny moments of him searching stuff up that had just disappeared randomly, and him having to remember himself what was there and what wasn't. So yeah, it's just a lot of hilarity in this movie, and obviously the music is good because it's the Beatles, so you can't go wrong with that. And yeah, I guess everything kind of worked out for him in the end, even though he knew that he had screwed up over the course of the movie, especially with Elle, obviously. And but I guess he got to live out his dream of being a good musician for a little while, so I guess there was some kind of like win-lose situations that I wouldn't say were necessarily bad for him in this movie, and it did end up being happy for him, so you got to give him that. And obviously delivering great music to people that completely forgot, or just, yeah, completely forgot about who the Beatles were because they were wiped from the face of the earth. So crazy to think about that could actually happen. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for this movie. I think that's pretty much all I can say without ruining too much, or giving, well, I mean, I like to talk about the storyline because I think it's important, but anyhow. Yeah, that's it. As always, geez, I'm losing my train of thought here. Like, share, subscribe, and comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it. My light's doing some weird sort of flashy thingy in the background, so I'm sorry about that if that's annoying. Don't know why it's doing that. Maybe it's starting to go. But anyway, comment down below your thoughts on this film if you've seen it, and if not, I would say definitely go watch it. It is on Netflix right now. I imagine it'll be around for a while, so. And that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye for now.